I'm not sure who it was. I saw online, I think it was the woman who owns Bare Naked Bulls. She was talking about this time of year and having moisturized hands. And she said to wash your hands and then don't dry them all the way. And then apply your lotion, and that will help seal in the moisture. If you really want to take it up a notch further, if you have one of those lotion bars, use that after. And let me tell you, my hands have never been more thankful. So that's your pro tip for the day. Hope you all take what you will from that. Let's get into it. Episode, I think it's 79. What's good, peacemakers? Welcome back to another episode of the Piece4PeaceCrafting Podcast. I'm Michael, and this is my crafty corner of the YouTube universe. If you would like to find me on other social media, you can do so by following me over on Instagram and Threads as Piece4PeaceCrafting, or you can follow me over on Ravelry as Piece4PeaceCraft. Or if you like music and you would like to follow along with a playlist that goes with this silly little podcast, you can do so by following it over on Spotify at Piece4PeaceCrafting Podcast Playlist. A mouthful, I know, but it's a lot. If you ever have trouble finding that playlist, you can feel free to send me a message on Instagram and I will gladly send you the link. Please do not ask for it down below in the comments on YouTube, because sometimes people are trash and people will take things and then hack into it, and we don't really want that. So shoot me a message over on Instagram and then I can send you the link. All right, everyone. Hello. How are you? Welcome. If you're new, welcome to this silliness. We're happy that you're here. If you're, and in this episode, you will watch me choke. And if you're returning, what's up, y'all? How's everyone been? It's been 2 weeks. I feel like so much has happened, yet nothing has happened. Things are going. It is been gray here, which is fine. I mean, it's whatever. I will take gray and a little bit wet over freezing cold and lots of snow any day. And I know some of you are like, oh no, but the snow is like, it's so beautiful and oh, it's so nice. But like, to me, you sound like people who don't have to leave your house. And as someone who has to leave my house, I can appreciate the snow if I don't need to leave. But like, if I have to be out in it, like, it's not fun. Mother Nature, she's doing her thing. Old man winter is here. I will pass. But like, gray, little bit of mist, like the snow is melting. It's not icy anymore. I don't feel like I'm gonna hurt myself walking down the street. I will take it. It's giving lots of fog. I'm loving it. Other than that, things have been really good on my end. We had another meetup for the Artus Shawl, that knit along that I am running. That knit along goes, well, it started January 1st and it's gonna run until the end of February. So February 29th, We had our second Zoom meetup for that. And you all, it is just such a source of joy. I mean, for those of you who were who attended and you're watching this, like, please know that like my heart is full every time I leave those, and it's just so lovely. You know, we aren't a big group, but we are a mighty group, I guess. And I think that we have come together for in the similarity of craft, but the building of the community is like what is keeping us there. And it's really nice to hear people's stories and for folks to share and for us just to spend a little bit of time together has been, it's just been really wonderful. So I've really been enjoying that. We have another one that will be mid-February, I believe. We're gonna do another one. I don't know off the top of my, I want to say it's the 21st of February. Honestly, I don't remember what I said. I have it written down somewhere though. I think there's gonna be another podcast before then. So I'll be sure to mention it. I'll leave the link though down below. If you are making that shawl and you're interested in coming to hang out with us, it will, like the real date will be listed in the link below, and you can sign up just by filling out your email address. And I usually will send out the link that morning for everyone. I don't do a newsletter or anything. Like, what am I gonna send you a newsletter about? Today, Kendrick and I went on a walk. Exciting, I know. Yeah, so you just send me your email address, and then I just have a spreadsheet with all of them in there, and then I send it out. And yeah, I think it's the 21st. I don't have a calendar in front of me. That could be a Tuesday. It's a Sunday in February where we're all gonna meet again, and then we'll do one more just to like wrap it up. It's been really great. I've been enjoying it. I hope that for those of you who have attended, you all have been enjoying it. I know a couple people have reached out and sent me some very heartfelt messages about their time there, and that just warms my heart. So thank you to anyone who's been participating in that. I do have some progress to show you on that. And I'm trying to think if there's been anything else that's happening. No, not really. I'm like getting like slight, not even like a lot, just like slight FOMO, knowing that people are going to Vogue Knitting Live, VKL, is that what? Yeah, Vogue Knitting Live this weekend. So this is like coming out on Saturday when all of the fun things are happening. You know who is excited that they're not attending? My wallet. Because I don't need anything right now. I'm so sorry. I was about to literally take us down a road of a tangent that we're going to put a pin in, and we're going to come back to in a second when I show you something that I've been working on. Okay, so with all that being said, I have been doing some crafting. I have a couple things to show you all today. I have 2 FOs and 3 things that I'm working on. Pretty chill. All right, so the first thing that I will talk about is, trying not to knock things over, is I finished my socks that I was working on that came from a sock tube. So actually they look so cute. Not to like hype myself up, but so this was a sock tube that I cranked while I was at New York Sheep and Wool with Kevin and Ray and the ladies of the Knitting Posse. We had a crank party. That also makes me think of Crank That Soldier Boy. Anyway, anyway, so these were cranked on a 64 stitch cylinder on their Erlbacher Gearhart, and I cut into them and added the heels, toes, and cuffs. The heels, toes, and cuffs were from another tube that I'd cranked. Oh, is that true? Yes, that I'd cranked, that I ripped out some of the leg of. And that was in Ginger Snap That, and this is in their Pixel color. So it was a fade, so you can see the toes are a little bit darker than the heel, which are a little bit darker than the cuff. And I love them. So fun. I mean, because it's just adding the heel toes and cuffs, it made for a really fast knit. I will say that for me, the negative ease that comes from the 64 stitch from the machine is the same / equivalent to what I get in my 68 stitch socks that are hand knit. So that's kind of cool. Because I was 4 stitches short for my toes and my heels, normally I do 2 rounds and then I start my decreases. Or I guess if I'm normally when I'm doing my toes, I am doing them toe up. But when I do toes like this, I would normally do 2 rounds and then start my decreases. And for these, I did 4 just to make up for that room that I would have gotten had I had to do 2 extra rows, you know, to decrease a round and then do a round from 68, just to ensure that like I had enough room, and they fit great. Yeah, these are, did I say the yarn yet? This was Tina's Toasty Toes in the color Melted Crayons, hilarious. And the blue is from the Pixel Ginger Snap That kit. From the body of the sock, I did rip back and I took out, well, because I ripped them out and I held both strands together, which will make sense once I show you something else. Oh, here it is. Is it connected to something? No. Amazing. I had about 30 grams that I ripped out, and I held both of the strands together, just because it makes it easier for something else that I'm working on. So these are my socks. Very excited about it. Happy that those are done. My next finished object is actually something that I don't have here, but I did finish my friend's Lulu Slipover. And so what we're gonna do is I actually was good and took a video before I gave it to her. And so I will insert that in now. So holler to Past Michael and tell you all about that. Oh, hi. Sorry, I missed the cue for being ready for you to flash back to me. Hi, future people. So I'm here to chat about the Lulu Slipover by Petite Knit. If previous episodes you all have seen that I was working on this for a friend of mine, and I'm done with it, which you already know because you've now flashed back to me. Anyway, so this is the Lulu Slipover by Petite Knit, and this pattern is from an XX small, so a double X small to a 5 extra large, meaning 39-inch to 63.5-inch bust size. I think the recommended ease is supposed to be about 10 inches for this. I knit the extra small, which was the 41 and like a quarter. That size from my friend was going to be too big. So like she's in between sizes. And so when I did my gauge swatch, I actually was a little bit, oddly enough, a little bit tighter of a gauge than what the gauge was recommended. And so I think that I ended up with a garment that is gonna fit my friend a little bit better. I'm actually taking it to her today. So I knit mine, for those that may not remember, using the yarn that the original sample was knit in. So that is the Sandness Garn Peer Gynt in the color Charcoal Melange. So that's 1065. Where's the... I'm just spinning it to look for the tag and I like literally can't find it. Yeah, I loved working with this. I ended up getting 8 balls. So this is 100% Norwegian wool and it is 50 grams, so 91 meters for 50 grams. And I bought 8 because I thought that's what when I did the math and looking at the pattern, that's how many it said that I was gonna need. But because I had sort of a tighter gauge, I only ended up using 7, so I have 1 ball left over. All right, enough chit chat. Let's show the make. I have it on this fun little hanger. So cute. So this is the Lulu Slipover. I think the last time you all saw it, I had one side of the ribbing done maybe, and I'd picked up for the other. So both of the ribbing for the armholes are done. And then I went and did these little button plackets, which you had to do 4 of them. And let me tell you, while the look of them is so good, knitting them, I was bored. It's double knit, and it's only across a few stitches, and you're you're going across and you're connecting it to the body of the work. And I just thought it was a little slow going, and that's because the body of the sweater was knit on US 6s, the ribbing was done on a 4, and then these little button plackets, I didn't have a 1.5, and so I did them on a 2. So it was like going from using a bigger needle to then dropping down and using a smaller needle to do something very detailed. It was a little bit slow going. And if I'm being honest, I was a bit over it, but I do think that the overall look and aesthetic of it is really beautiful. I'm probably gonna end up making another one of these for my roommate, so I'm gonna have to just be on the struggle bus and do it again. For me, I knit basically the thing to pattern. I did make the body just like an inch longer and the ribbing maybe a half an inch longer. The button plackets are cool because they're thick. And then you go back in and you sew on 2 buttons that honestly are for decoration. I don't know why you would undo this. And actually, I don't know why we made buttonholes either. Like, we could have just made the 2 plackets and then sewn the button through 2 pieces of fabric, which is probably why the buttonhole was done, is so that you're only going through one and then closing it. It's a cute detail. I actually enjoyed how to make the buttonholes for this. I thought it was very interesting and like fun to do. That part I did enjoy. I was like, oh, okay, these are kind of cool. But these literally serve no function, just for like cute aesthetic. I picked up these wood buttons from a local yarn shop here in Chicago called Yarnify. I just went before work one day, and so they're these beautiful brown buttons that I thought would look really nice with the charcoal of the rest of the garment. I will say, when I washed this, so I washed it pre-putting the buttons on, the water was brown. It was so dirty, and even my roommate, he was like, whoa, what's going on there? I said, I don't know. They must have just like taken this off the sheet, processed it, and spun it up and said, here you go. But it did soften up some, which is also really nice, so I'm assuming that's what it was. It could probably use one more washing, but it is clean, it smells delicious, and still sheepy, and I'm super excited about it. I'm really happy with how it turned out. I think it looks super profesh, if I'm being honest. Like, all of the little detailing I'm really happy with. Like, this is a garment that I'm happy to give away to a friend. and I think that they will really enjoy. All of the edging was done with the Italian sewn bind off, which I spoke about this last time, was my first time doing that bind off, and it's a blast. It's fun. It sort of reminds me of Kitchener stitch. I like have it memorized in my head, so I didn't, after the second time of doing it, I didn't have to look it up anymore. Like, so when I finished this section, I could just immediately start the bind off. And yeah, I think it just makes for a really gorgeous, finished, polished look of a garment. So yeah, super excited about it. I really loved it. I'm probably gonna end up making another one. I should stop picking at it so it looks beautiful. I'm probably gonna end up making another one if I'm being honest. I personally think that this could fall in the unisex category. I'm not really a vest person, but I could see more male identifiers wearing something like this. It seems super easy to just like throw on, with a long sleeve shirt. I guess turtleneck, even though this has a mock, or just like a button down, or like a long sleeve sort of like thermal, I guess, underneath. Yeah, check it out. Beautiful pattern. Good times. Okay, I will send you all back to future me. See ya. All right, cool. So that's it for my finished objects. Oh, for anybody wondering, maybe you haven't been here and you are curious, I should have said this at the top, but we're here now. My hat that I'm wearing is the Teeny Weeny Beanie by Jean-Philippe Cliche, and this is an amazing beanie. I wear it all the time, probably a little bit too much, whatever. Love the decreases. It's meant to be worn above the ears, which is personally how I like my hats. This was knit in primrose yarn, like the half and half. It's like half wool, half superwash. I don't remember the color though. I don't remember the color. I'm sorry. And then this is my Montrealer sweater. I think this was like the second sweater I've ever knit in 2020. Yeah, I'm almost positive this was the beginning of the pandemic knit. And this is knit in Knit Picks Wool of the Andes for the mane, and Murky Depths Merino Cashmere Nylon. I don't remember the color. And this accented color is Lorna's Laces. I don't think they dye anymore, actually. And it has a hood. It's super cute. Yeah, this thing I wear so much, and it was like super, super pilly because I just hadn't taken the time to like really take care of it. And then, I don't know, maybe the end of last year, I was like, let me sit down and just like spend the time and do this. And now, it looks amazing again. So this is probably my most worn sweater, if I'm being honest. All right, let's get into what I'm working on. First things first, sorry, I'm gonna set that over there because I don't want yarn to spill on anything. It's honestly, you all, I don't even want to show this, but because it's nothing, but I have started another pair of socks. And this is using the yarn that a lovely viewer sent over. I showed all the skeins last time, but this is in the Knitterly Things, the Remix Club. And so this is from August of 2022 club colorway, and it's an 80/20 superwash merino nylon. It's 400 yards of self-striping goodness. So that's what that looks like. So it came with a mini in this beautiful gray. Oh my gosh. And the color, I'll just show you one ball. One of them wound up. Should have really thought about how I put these in the box. So here are the colors that are gonna be in these socks. I think the cake is so beautiful. So some blues and greens and like reds, corally colors. I think these are going to be awesome. I'm very excited about it. I needed something to cast on after I finished the sock tube socks. And a part of me wanted to cast on the collab Woolens and Nosh Le Garçon socks, but something in my spirit just said, why don't you wait to do those? Because I am such a like, oh, the Woolens and Nosh Club is here, I'm gonna cast them right away. And so since I've just completely twisted everything in this bag. So since I waited, I decided let me try to use something else. And these are really great. So you all, again, this is nothing to show, but I did start just the toes of my socks. So these are going to be toe up. All my socks are done, when I hand knit them, are done on a US 1. So 2.25. I start with a Turkish cast on and then slowly increase, so every other row, until I get to 68 stitches, and then I will add the main color and just go into my heart's content. There's nothing much to talk about because literally I just cast them on. Yeah, these are going to be my to-go project. Throw them in my bag. Actually, I started them yesterday on my commute home, actually, because I like got a seat for like a second. I was like, oh, I can work on these for a minute. So those are fun. They're coming along. Nothing much to write home about. All right. The next thing, let's save this for last. The next thing is, let me make sure all this stuff isn't tangled. All right, so what I said that I was gonna come back to, which now I don't even remember what I said I was gonna come back to, but that was literally minutes ago and I can't remember. Hilarious. Okay, so, I know, it was about the socks, and then I said, I'll come back to it in a minute because of the a little bit more than 20 grams. Okay, so before I cast on those socks, was needing something to work on. And if I'm being honest, I really need to go through this, and there's a closet that is off camera that both myself and my roommate have things in, and they're both are like little niche hobby type things, and like it needs to be cleaned out. Like I need to go through it, I need to get rid of things, I need to just like go through a bunch of things. And so within thinking that I needed to spend time going through that, because like I think I've talked about this before, like I want to make a list. Here's all the sweater quantities I have. Here are the things that I can make from it. Like let's use the things so that you have, not so that I'm not buying things, but just because like I have it and like I need it to get made. So that's what I'm going to work on. So with that, I didn't do that. Haven't cleaned out the thing. I haven't made the list, like whatever. But what I did do was I needed something to work on. And normally behind me in this little shelf here, I'll show you in a second, there's a little basket. And then sitting usually up here is another little thing. So the thing that usually sits up here is this Michael's box tray. This is actually the prototype from the Scrappy Angel. And it just had, like when I'd finish socks, or I'd finish mostly socks, or just like fingering weight things, I would wind up the balls and I would just like throw them in here, like very haphazardly. And then in the thing that sits behind me is this little, I think this is my roommate's actually, this little basket. And like, I just had minis in here. Like, look, here's one, it's black. I don't even know where it's from. I just had minis in here. And so it was making me feel like it was a lot. It's like, oh, I have all these little things. Actually, if I'm being honest, because the bigger, like, oh, I want to go through and like say what sweater quantities I have, or like, oh, I have this yarn to make this shawl. Like, I definitely bought things with things in mind. That seemed like a really big task that like was making me feel slightly overwhelmed. And so when I saw these two things of just minis or like leftovers, scraps, I was like, oh, this to me for right now, my brain seems more tangible and like it can help me to get a hold on like the bigger picture, if that makes sense. And so a while ago, I'd started a blanket that was going to be the safe space blanket. I don't have the pattern because it's on my phone. If I'm being honest, it's pretty easy. Well, once I got back into it, it's pretty easy. And so like, I don't even have to look at it anymore. I can't even remember who it's by. Everything that I'm talking about will be linked down below. And so you can go to the pattern and it will tell you who it's by. They have a couple blankets actually. And so what I did was, I'll show you the blanket in a second. I took this basket because what was living in here was like already, once I finish my socks, I just hold both strands together and I keep winding it so the colors pretty much stay together. Excuse me. And so in this basket, I had a bunch of minis, and when I wound up the yarn for the socks that I'd started, I just sat in my dining room with my audiobook on, and I just wound like so many things of minis. It's kind of crazy. And I still have like three that aren't done. I also have 1, 2, 3. This is a 6-pack, the Color Explosion. I'm not even sure if Nancy still carries this, but Trilogy Yarn mini set. These are gonna get wound up to go in this thing. And so I was just like, this is now, and I've talked about this on here too, like, because sometimes I wake up in the middle of the night and like I can't sleep for a little bit and then I go back to sleep, I have been having like a small project next to me. It's usually a pair of socks that I can just like work on to lull myself back to sleep. Yes, I've dropped stitches. It's fine. Have I slept like this before with the knitting needles and the project on me? Totally. I wake up in the morning and I'm like, oh my God. Anyway, this has become that project. And so here is where I am on that. 1 second. So previously on Days of Our Lives, I had, let me pull this out. I had just done this 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, because I had this little marker on it, little hexagons, right? And so I knew that I wanted, at some point, I did some sort of math and figured out that the pattern is written either for fingering on its own or fingering / DK, fingering held double or DK. So I'm doing the DK version. So I'm holding fingering double. It's getting rid of things. It's perfect for the minis. I need about 10 grams to get 1 hexagon. So what I did was I picked this back up and then I continued and added, so a bunch more. here, let me sit this on my lap. All of these. How fun, right? Now, a couple of the ends aren't woven in, but for the most part, I was like, I don't even remember knitting these socks. I love that. Some of the ends aren't woven in yet. That's totally fine. I'm weaving in as I go. It's great. What I did for the base row is I did like a variegated or a solid and then a striped. Now, I recognized that that couldn't happen once I started adding the next rows because like half of it would still be stripes next to stripes or variegated to variegated. So whatever, it doesn't matter. And so I finished the base and then I came back and I connected. So in the pattern, it says you can do half hexes or a full one. Like this could not be here and then like it would just be empty space. You know what I mean? Next to it. And I would start my hexagon here. But I wanted the edge to be sort of flat and then just the two ends to be wavy, if that makes sense. And so I started my second panel. This one's fun. This is, so the socks that I just finished, this was the rest of that that I pulled out. And then I just had some white like bear yarn to just sort of finish it out. And I think that's what I'm gonna do. I have another, it's like Knit Pick Stroll Bear, is just like little bits and bobs, or like if I am running, like maybe I only have 8 grams and not 10, is using just a bear yarn to go with it, just to like, yeah, so I can use up stuff so that it's not just sitting around anymore. So this is where I am. I'm loving this just as, it's so ridiculous, just as like a scrappy project. It's 15 square or 15 hexagons long. I can do this and then you can see more of them. 15 hexagons long. And that roughly, I'm using DPNs. It's on a size, it's on a size 5. I'm pretty sure. I'm almost positive. It's on a size 5. So 3.75 millimeter. I'm using the Clover Bamboo DPNs. It's really easy. What was I going to say? Oh, so it's 15 hexagons long. And I think what I'm gonna do is just 15 by 15 rows, basically. And so that'll give me a 6 foot by 6 foot. That's huge. I laid it on my bed, which is a queen size bed, and I was like, oh, whoops, I didn't realize it was gonna be this big. Like it doesn't cover the whole bed, but it definitely covers a lot of the bed. And whatever, like I don't care. It's superwash, so it's gonna grow as well. I say that now, famous last words, won't add a border. That's like far off away. But if I do 15 by 15, I think I did the math and it's like 225 hexagons. And that seems like a lot, but that doesn't seem like a lot. So I'm gonna say that I would love for this to be done by the end of the year. This is just gonna be like my year-long project, and I'm really excited about it because I have so many scraps. There's a whole bin in one of these cubes. There's a whole thing down here just to fingering weight scraps. So I'm gonna pull out some of those, use them. Look, there's even some here. I need to reorganize this thing because it's out of control. And I'll just keep adding to it, and it's gonna be a big mess of a scrappy blanket, and I'm actually a little bit excited for it. I think it's gonna be really fun. I am super inspired by Lisa of Knit All the Yarn, so 72 Stitches. She's done a bunch of scrappy blankets, and yeah, when I figured out that it was 225, I was like, oh, I should do what Lisa did and figure out how many squares I need to, or not squares, she did squares, how many hexagons I need to do to finish it by, I don't know, some frivolous date. And I think I might do that. Like, it would be fun. I wonder if I could finish it by my birthday, which is at the end of March, which is hilarious. Sorry, you all are like catching me in real time trying to figure it out when like you have a life. You could be doing something else. You don't need to watch me try to figure it out. Anyway, I'm gonna figure it out because I need to figure out how many hexagons I currently have, how many I need to add, yada yada yada, to move forward. Yeah, that's gonna happen. Okay, enough about that. Safe Space Blanket, loving it, total scrappy goodness. All right, my last thing that I'm gonna show you all is my Artus Shawl by Natasha Hornby, which is what the make-along that I am running is for. This is a sport weight shawl. I am using Knit Picks wool of the Andes in the sport weight. That's 137 yards for 50 grams. And I didn't bring the other skeins in here because I figured I could just show you the colors on the shawl. Here is, I made a ton of progress. And I also just like set this to the side for the past couple days, just because. All right, so here's where oh my God, I'm already excited. Here's where I am. Can we just have a moment? All right, so it started down here with this beautiful waffle stitch, and then it went into some 1x1 color work, stranded color work, waffle, stranded color work, waffle, stranded color work, plain, another plain, bus, hotel, and then it went into this mosaic stitch pattern. So it's just slip stitches. The colors I'm using, this brown is Merlot Heather. This gray is ash. The, what is that, beige-ish color is mink heather. The goldish color is turmeric. This stunning blue is Wonderland heather. Is that all of them? Yeah, I think so. I'm obsessed with this blue and this brown together. That has to be something. I need to find a sport weight sweater. I need to make something out of it. I can't even get over it. Yeah, the mosaic is going. I probably have 8, maybe 10 more rows of the mosaic before I start like the border. There's like another section of 1x1 color work, and then yeah, I think I start the bind off, which is really dope. So this is like pretty much almost done. I'm really loving it. I think that it's gonna block out pretty well and actually be sort of big, because like when I'm knitting it, it's sort of, oh, it looks so beautiful. It's pretty scrunched up, and so I can never really tell, but now it also could be on a longer cord. Now that I have it sort of just like up like this, it does look like it's gonna be pretty big. So here's where I was last time, where this little jewel was. So I've done all of that color work. So yeah, maybe by the next episode, this will be done. That's crazy to me, which means that I'll have knitted, or I guess it will be February by then. So it'll have taken like a little over a month. And that's like not even hardcore, like doing it all the time. This is another little detail I love, is this little center stitch, how it changes colors. I think that's really pretty. Yeah, so this is the Artus Shawl by Natasha Hornby, and I am obsessed and loving it. And I think, you know, it was really cold here, and then like we're getting some fake days right now, meaning that like it's 40 degrees today, which is whatever. Like I'm loving it. I said in the beginning, but like I've lived here my whole life. I know that tomorrow it could be negative 25. So I still have time to wear this. It literally snows in April here, which is also one of my favorite Prince songs. yeah, so I'm still gonna get some use out of it before the season is over, which is also very exciting. Yeah, so that's where I am right now with all of the makes. A lot of fun things are happening, and I'm really excited about. I think this blanket is going to be a blast. I'll figure out numbers and things like that and share that with you next time. That shawl is really coming along, and there's always going to be socks. I think this year I'm going to try to like I do Ravelry pages for like that shawl has a Ravelry page, but like my socks don't have Ravelry pages. It's like I don't do it for everything. And I think I would like to this year, not so much in a sense to like, I don't know what I'm trying to say. I want to track better all of the things that I'm making in the year. Not that like I'm going to do some like roundup or like anything. I just want to be able to look at it and see that information in front of me. So I think I'm going to start tracking that. Not that means nothing to you all, but that is something that I want to do. I like to, right? Because I don't do resolutions, but I'd like to try to track things a little bit better, just so that at the end of the year or like, you know, in 3 months I can be like, oh wow, yeah, I made this many things. Like I couldn't remember how many pairs of socks I made, and I was not about to go to my Instagram and like shuffle through and start counting. Hard pass. Yeah. Anyway, we shall see if I end up actually doing that. You know, I still got that beginning of the year energy where I'm like, all these fun new things. Although some of them I've really been sticking to, and it's been great. And I feel like, you know, once you stick to something long enough, then it becomes a habit, and then it's like a part of your life. And so I'm really enjoying that. And hopefully what my next thing will be going through and figuring out how many sweater quantities I have, because I would love for that to be a habit so that I can start making them, because I have the yarn for them and I want them, and other pretty shiny things just keep popping up. So we shall see. Anyway, that's all I have for this episode, you all. I hope the next 2 weeks are honestly truly magical for you. And the next time I see you all, it will be February. So, yeah, the newness of a new month will be upon us. And yeah, I hope everyone is doing all right. And it's at least starting to warm up a little bit, or you're able to get outside a little bit more. For those of us that are in the Northern Hemisphere, I know it's been hard staying indoors. Maybe you ski, so you've been outside, whatever. But you've been able to just like step out in the sunshine a little bit, stretch your legs, not be cooped up in the house as much. And for my people who are in the Southern Hemisphere, and I've heard it's been awfully hot some places, I hope y'all are staying cool and finding, you know, fun activities that aren't making you feel like you're melting. Other than that, you all have a beautiful 2 weeks, and yeah, keep creating. Keep doing cool things. If you want to join for the next Zoom meetup, the link is down below. And I'm pretty sure there's another podcast before that, so I'll remind everyone, because like memories. Yeah, and until I see you all next time, make a piece, spread some peace. Peace.